Welcome to our channel. Today, we're exploring some of the most extraordinary and ultra-rare US dimes that collectors dream of finding. From hidden minting quirks to pristine condition survivors, these coins aren't just pocket change, they're modern treasures with jaw-dropping value. It's small, silver-colored, and easy to overlook. Yet this single coin has become one of the most surprising discoveries in modern US coin collecting. The 1984 P. Roosevelt dime, struck in Philadelphia, is known today for a combination of rarity, condition, and error details that pushed its value far beyond anyone's expectations. When most people think of a dime, they picture something ordinary. You find them in spare change, on the floor of your car, or in the back of a drawer. But every once in a while, a particular year and mint mark produce a coin that stands apart. The 1984 P dime is one of those coins, a piece that looks almost identical to the rest but carries a unique story behind its minting and preservation. In 1984, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck more than 1 billion Roosevelt dimes. Each was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, not the silver used before 1965. Most of these coins entered circulation and saw years of handling, scratches, and wear. Because they were made in such large numbers, no one thought much about keeping one untouched. That's what makes a high-grade example from that year so rare. The Roosevelt dime has been in production since 1946. Designed by Chief Engraver John R. Sinek, it honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership and for his connection to the March of Dimes, a charity formed to fight polio. The design has remained largely unchanged for decades. Roosevelt's left-facing portrait on the front, the Torch of Liberty on the reverse, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength. By the 1980s, the mint's machinery was producing millions of coins daily. Even with precise technology, variations and small errors could occur. Dies sometimes wore unevenly or were replaced mid-production. Pressure could shift slightly between strikes. These small differences can create coins that are just different enough to be noticed by experts, and sometimes, by lucky collectors. The 1984 P. Roosevelt dime's rarity doesn't come from a missing mint mark, like the famous 1982 No P. dime, or from an obvious double strike. Instead, it's known for its exceptional state of preservation and fine striking quality. Finding a coin from this year that has survived without marks, with full details in Roosevelt's hair, and sharp lettering on both sides, is extremely difficult. That perfect condition is what separates an ordinary dime from one that collectors are willing to pay thousands, even tens of thousands, to own. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. A grade of 70 means a coin is flawless, even under magnification. For modern coins struck in huge quantities, reaching grades of 68 or higher is rare because of the smallest imperfections that can occur during production. Out of all the 1984 P dimes produced, only a tiny number have been graded near the top of that scale. Error collectors also pay close attention to this year because of a few subtle varieties that appeared during production. Some 1984 P dimes show evidence of die fatigue, which can cause slightly blurred details in parts of the design. Others have minor doubling visible in the lettering or date. While these small differences might not be dramatic, they're enough to catch the attention of specialists who study die varieties and production flaws. When an error coin combines with superb condition, its rarity multiplies. That's what makes the best examples of the 1984 P dime stand out. Collectors look for precise minting details, full torch lines on the reverse, clear separation in Roosevelt's hair, and clean, undamaged surfaces. For decades, this coin went largely unnoticed. Collectors were more focused on silver dimes or famous varieties. But as grading services like PCGS and NGC began certifying modern coins, interest grew in the highest quality examples of more recent issues. Registry sets, competitive collections ranked by grade, brought attention to coins like the 1984 P dime. Only a few examples reached the very top of the grading scale, and auction results showed how much that mattered. In pristine mint state 68 and above, the 1984 P dime moved from being a common 10-cent piece to an object of serious investment. Its value increased with each rare appearance at auction, as collectors competed for the best-preserved coin available. The Philadelphia Mint that year was operating at full capacity. Machines were producing thousands of coins per minute. Under those conditions, minor imperfections were unavoidable. Planchets could have tiny nicks before striking, or coins could bump into one another during transport. The odds of any one dime escaping with a flawless surface were incredibly small. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes pay attention to the minting characteristics unique to each year. For 1984, coins that show a strong, full torch on the reverse are especially sought after. A full torch means that the vertical lines and the bands at the top and bottom of the torch are all clearly defined. When a 1984 P dime shows a full torch and no marks, it represents one of the best possible strikes the mint achieved that year. Most collectors will never find one in circulation today. Decades of wear have taken their toll, and the few untouched examples are safely stored in protective holders. But the search still continues, not just for the highest grades, but also for subtle varieties or errors that could add to the coin's appeal. So what happens when one of these perfect 1984 P dimes reaches the open market? One top-graded example, certified in near-flawless condition, was placed for auction. Its surfaces were bright, its strike strong, its details crisp. Competing bidders quickly recognized how scarce it was at that level. The final sale price reached an incredible $73,000. Moving on to the second coin, the 1995 P. Roosevelt dime. This coin might look ordinary at first glance, but a small error during its production turned it into one of the most sought-after modern dimes in circulation. It's another example of how tiny details can make a huge difference in the world of coin collecting. The 1995 P dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and like other Roosevelt dimes, it was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. By the mid-1990s, minting technology was advanced, but even then, errors still managed to slip through. And that's exactly what makes this coin special. Most of the dimes from 1995 were perfectly normal, billions were produced and entered circulation for everyday use. But among those billions, a few unusual pieces stood out. Some showed doubling in the inscriptions, others had slight shifts in alignment, and a rare few displayed signs of a die clash or striking misalignment. One of the best-known errors for the 1995 P dime is the double die obverse, where the front design shows duplication. Under magnification, you can notice faint doubling on the letters in Liberty, and sometimes around the date or Roosevelt's eye. This happens when the die receives more than one impression that isn't perfectly aligned. When the mint strikes coins with that die, each coin carries that doubled image. While some doubling is light and only visible under close inspection, certain 1995 P dimes display it clearly enough that experienced collectors can identify it with the naked eye. These examples are incredibly rare because most error dies are replaced quickly once discovered. Very few of those coins escaped into circulation, which is why collectors keep such a close watch for them. Another error seen on the 1995 P dime involves slight die rotation or off-center strikes. These occur when the blank metal disc isn't positioned correctly during striking. The result can be a coin where the design appears slightly shifted or rotated. Although small, these differences add significant value because they're not supposed to exist in normal minting conditions. This coin features the familiar Roosevelt profile on the front with Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. The mint mark P sits just below the year, representing Philadelphia. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch remain symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. But what separates this coin from the rest is how its minting process went slightly off track. Collectors value precision, so when a coin shows an unintentional variation, it becomes an instant curiosity. The 1995 P dime embodies that fascination perfectly. It isn't a coin that stands out for beauty alone, it's the story behind it, the mechanical mishap that left a permanent mark on history. When it comes to condition, the same grading standards apply. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state grades indicating those that have never entered circulation. For an error coin like the 1995 P dime, the combination of the error type and the coin's condition determines its worth. A double die example in mint state condition is far more desirable than one that shows signs of wear. Collectors always look for strong strikes and clear, visible doubling. The best preserved examples, those with sharp details and full mint luster, are extremely difficult to find. Many of these dimes were used and worn down before anyone noticed the error, leaving only a handful of top-condition examples known today. The Philadelphia Mint that year was producing a massive volume of coins, so errors of this kind were statistical anomalies. Out of hundreds of millions struck, only a limited number display this doubling, and even fewer have survived in near-perfect shape. That combination of rarity and error makes this coin stand out among Roosevelt dimes of the modern era. Over time, word spread within the coin-collecting community, and interest in these 1995 P-era dimes began to rise. Collectors who specialize in die varieties started documenting the areas where doubling appeared most clearly. As grading companies confirmed their authenticity, these coins began to gain serious recognition in the numismatic world. So what exactly should you look for if you want to identify this coin? Start with the obverse. Check the word Liberty, especially the letters B and E, for any signs of doubling. Examine, In God We Trust, for thickness or a shadow-like outline. Then move to the date and Roosevelt's profile. If you notice any doubling there, you might be holding one of the rare 1995 P-era dimes. Even coins with light doubling can be valuable, but those showing strong, clear details are the real prizes. Their rarity and visual impact set them apart from common issues. And when one of these pieces appears in pristine mint state condition, with no wear and original luster intact, its value climbs dramatically. For a modern coin that began life as simple change, the 1995 P. Roosevelt dime with a strong double die error has become one of the standout pieces of the decade. Collectors recognize it not only for its rarity but also for how a small minting variation turned a common coin into a prized collectible. The most remarkable known example of the 1995 P-era dime, preserved in outstanding condition with a clear double die strike, was valued at an incredible $63,000. From 10 cents to $63,000, a result of one small minting error and the near-perfect condition that kept it preserved through time. The 1995 P. Roosevelt dime proves again that in coin collecting, it's often the smallest imperfections that create the greatest rewards. Now let's move on to the third coin of today's video, the 1999 D. Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it may appear to be just another dime, one of the countless coins that passed through pockets, cash registers, and coin jars in the late 1990s. But among the millions produced at the Denver Mint that year, a very small number stand out as extraordinary due to their rare preservation and subtle minting differences. For collectors, these coins have become highly desirable modern treasures. The Roosevelt dime design, introduced in 1946, has remained largely unchanged. The obverse features President Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile, accompanied by the inscriptions, Liberty and, In God We Trust, along with the year and mint mark below the date. The reverse shows the iconic torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1999, this design had been in circulation for over 50 years, familiar to generations of Americans. The Denver Mint produced these coins using the standard copper-nickel clad composition, which has been standard since 1965. The intent was to create coins that could endure daily use without significant wear. Yet, despite modern quality control, a few coins emerged with exceptionally well-preserved features or minor minting anomalies, making them stand out from the rest of the production run. Most 1999 D dimes circulated heavily, quickly showing signs of wear. Surfaces became dull, edges nicked, and the finer details of Roosevelt's profile softened over time. However, a few coins avoided circulation altogether, likely kept in collections or stored carefully by individuals. These coins retained their original luster, sharpness, and clarity, making them particularly valuable today. What makes this coin particularly interesting to collectors are the subtle differences and minting nuances that can appear in a small fraction of 1999 D dimes. Some examples show faint doubling on the lettering of Liberty or In God We Trust, while others display minute die polishing lines or slightly stronger strikes in certain areas. These minor variations are easy to miss without magnification but are significant in the numismatic world, where small details can dramatically influence value. Unlike older coins that gain value due to silver content or historical significance, the 1999 D-dime's worth comes primarily from rarity and condition. A coin in pristine condition, with no wear or contact marks, and exhibiting strong details in Roosevelt's face, the torch, and lettering, is exceedingly rare. The combination of preservation and subtle minting quirks is what elevates it from a common dime to a collectible modern gem. Collectors pay close attention to several features when evaluating this coin. On the obverse, the sharpness of Roosevelt's profile, the clarity of his hair and facial lines, and the crispness of the lettering are key indicators of quality. On the reverse, a fully detailed torch, smooth fields, and strong contrast between the raised and flat areas can distinguish an average coin from a truly exceptional example. The D-mint mark itself is also inspected for clarity and definition, as even slight irregularities can impact collectability. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1999 D-dime is that it demonstrates how modern coins can achieve high collector value without being centuries old or containing precious metal. Most people assume modern coins are worth face value unless they have dramatic errors. But in this case, the combination of exceptional preservation, subtle errors, and rarity has elevated the coin's status in the collector market. Over the years, grading services have documented how few examples of this coin remain in top condition. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction qualify as mint state 65 or higher. Coins graded at MS-66 or MS-67 are extraordinarily rare, with even fewer reaching MS-68 or above. This scarcity drives demand among collectors who specialize in modern Roosevelt dimes, and it also impacts the coin's value dramatically. Collectors also value the coin for the story it tells. Unlike old silver dimes or historical rarities, this is a coin from a very familiar era, the late 1990s. It's a piece that could have been dropped in your pocket or rolled into a jar of change. Its transformation from an everyday object into a high-value collectible is a testament to how careful preservation and small production quirks can create long-term value. Another point that makes this coin interesting is the variety of errors that can occur in modern minting. While dramatic errors like off-center strikes are rare, subtle differences like doubled letters, faint die cracks, or uneven strikes add a layer of intrigue for collectors. For the 1999 D-dime, these features are not obvious at first glance, which makes finding and verifying such a coin even more rewarding. Condition remains the most critical factor. Coins with original luster, no scratches or contact marks, and fully detailed features are extremely rare. Even minor imperfections can reduce the coin's value significantly, as collectors are searching for specimens that are as close to perfect as possible. This scarcity of flawless coins contributes directly to the high value of the best examples. All of these factors together, rarity, preservation, subtle minting differences, and collector interest, culminate in a single, remarkable fact: the rarest 1999 D. Roosevelt dime, preserved in exceptional condition, is valued at an astonishing $50,000. Finally, let's take a closer look at the last coin in today's collection, the 2007 D. Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it appears to be just another dime, small and silver-colored, like the countless others minted that year. But, as with the other coins we've discussed, a closer look reveals a story of rarity, precision, and value that elevates it far above its face value. The Roosevelt dime design has been a mainstay of U.S. coinage since 1946. Its obverse features the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, accompanied by the inscriptions, Liberty and, In God We Trust, with the year and mint mark displayed beneath the portrait. The reverse shows the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 2007, this design had been minted for over 60 years, and millions of these dimes circulated widely across the country. The Denver Mint produced these coins using the standard copper-nickel clad composition, intended for everyday use. With such high production numbers, most 2007 D dimes entered circulation immediately, used for purchases and changing hands countless times. As a result, the majority of these coins show normal wear, including scratches, fading, and loss of luster. However, a tiny fraction of coins survived in exceptional, near-pristine condition, making them highly sought after by collectors today. What sets this coin apart is not just its survival but its quality and subtle minting distinctions. Some examples show faint doubling on the lettering of Liberty or slight die polishing lines that occurred during production. Others exhibit a stronger strike in certain areas, creating more pronounced details on Roosevelt's profile or the torch. While these features are not obvious to the casual observer, they are significant in the eyes of collectors and grading experts. Unlike older coins, whose value often comes from silver content or historical significance, the 2007 D-dime's appeal comes primarily from condition, rarity, and collector demand. Coins that retain full luster, sharp details, and flawless surfaces are exceedingly rare. Most of the dimes from 2007 circulated heavily, making high-grade examples all the more valuable. Collectors pay close attention to several key details when assessing this coin. On the obverse, they examine Roosevelt's profile, checking for clarity in his facial features and hair, as well as the crispness of the lettering. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch are inspected for sharpness and definition. Even the D mint mark beneath the date is carefully analyzed. Coins that meet all these criteria are exceptionally rare and highly prized. The 2007 D-dime is also fascinating because it demonstrates how modern coins can achieve substantial collector value. While a standard 2007 D-dime would be worth only 10 cents, the few that survived in top condition have become highly sought after, proving that age is not the only factor in determining collectability. Subtle production differences also play a significant role. Minor die variations, light doubling, or extra strong strikes may appear almost invisible without magnification, but for collectors, they are highly important. Even a single, slightly sharper detail can elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary, making it a centerpiece in a modern coin collection. Condition remains the most critical factor for this coin. Coins that maintain their original mint luster, show no scratches, and retain crisp details are extremely rare. Out of the millions minted in 2007, only a handful meet these standards. That scarcity drives demand among collectors, ensuring that the value of top-tier examples remains high. Another factor that adds to the coin's appeal is the story it tells. Unlike older coins from historical eras, this is a coin from a familiar, recent period, the mid-2000s. It could have been used in everyday transactions, saved in a coin roll, or tucked away by a collector. Holding one of these coins today is like holding a small piece of contemporary history, preserved perfectly against the odds. Professional grading also plays a significant role in determining the coin's value. Out of the millions of 2007 D-dimes, only a few have achieved grades of MS 66 or higher, with even fewer reaching MS 67 or above. These high-grade coins are extremely rare, and each example is carefully documented and studied by collectors and experts alike. All of these factors, rarity, exceptional preservation, subtle minting characteristics, and collector demand, combine to make the 2007 D Roosevelt dime a remarkable modern collectible. While most dimes from this year are worth only 10 cents, a perfectly preserved 2007 D dime with sharp features and full luster has now reached an impressive $33,000. From a coin once meant for everyday transactions to a highly prized collectible, the 2007 D Roosevelt dime proves that even modern coins can carry immense value. It is a striking reminder that careful preservation, attention to detail, and a bit of luck can transform an ordinary coin into a sought-after treasure. If you've enjoyed exploring these rare and valuable dimes with me today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any of our future coin discoveries, tips, and insights into the fascinating world of rare collectibles. Subscribing is the best way to stay updated on all the hidden treasures we uncover, and it helps support the channel so we can keep bringing you more amazing finds. And if you found today's coins as incredible as I did, give this video a thumbs up and share it with fellow collectors. Let's grow this community of coin enthusiasts together.